The group unfolds an inflatable pool on the basketball court, then dumps 1,500 pounds of salt into it. They keep pouring until an egg floats on the surface. 11 puts on a blindfold, steps into the pool, floating on the water. As the lights go out, she activates her powers, successfully projecting her consciousness into the upside down. It doesn't take long for her to find Barb, but the girl is already dead. The horrifying way she died terrifies 11. Joyce gently takes her hand and soothes her, letting 11 calm down at last. When she opens her eyes again, she sees a castle, exactly the same as the secret base Will built in the real world. Stepping inside, she finds Will, weak and on the verge of collapse. 11 urges him to hold on, they'll come rescue him soon. But just then, Will and the castle fade away. Startled, 11 snaps back to reality. Joyce wraps her in a tight hug, thanking her profusely for everything she's done. After that, the chief and Joyce tell the kids to stay put. They'll drive to the lab, go through the upside-down gate, and bring Will back. Unexpectedly, lab agents are already lying in wait, grabbing them on the spot. The two are separated for interrogation. Dr. Brenner puts on a pitiful act, trying to guilt-trip Joyce into helping him. Disgusted, Joyce calls out his hypocrisy and lies to his face.
Go to hell.
The chief's interrogation, by contrast, is far from gentle. Even as he's shocked with electricity, he spills all the dirty deeds the lab has done. Furious, the interrogator plots his staged overdose. Left with no choice, the chief proposes a deal. If the lab lets him and Joyce enter the upside down to rescue Will, they'll swear never to expose the lab's secrets to the outside world. In the end, Dr. Brenner agrees to the deal, promising not to harass the three boys anymore. In exchange, the chief tells him where 11 is. Back at school, the kids huddle together. Mike is shocked to realize his sister Nancy and Will's brother Jonathan are gone. It turns out, after the adults left, Nancy was crushed by the news of her best friend's death. Channeling her grief into courage, she decides to kill the monster to end this once and for all. Jonathan shares exactly the same thought. They head to the police station and get back their hunting equipment, before making their way to Jonathan's house to set traps. To lure the monster out, they slice their palms and let their blood drip across the floor. Through days of life or death struggles, their bond has grown stronger. Just then, there's a knock at the door. It's Steve. After being beaten up by Jonathan, he finally came to his senses. He truly loves Nancy, not just for fun. He'd wiped the graffiti off the movie theater billboard, then come to apologize and win her back. Seeing Nancy's injured hand, Steve assumes Jonathan did it. Furious, he storms inside, only to freeze at the sight of all their hunting gear. Not wanting to endanger him, Nancy guns him away. But then the lights start flickering. The ceiling bursts open, and the monster crashes through. Nancy's bullets do nothing to hurt it. The three scramble into a room and lock themselves in. Strangely, the lights stop flickering, and the noise outside fades. When they open the door, the monster is gone. Terrified, Steve bolts out of the house, heading for his car. Nancy and Jonathan stand back to back, scanning the darkness. Soon, the monster reappears, tackling Jonathan to the ground. Nancy fires repeatedly, but it's useless. Just as all hope seems lost, Steve bursts back in, swinging a baseball bat at the monster. Turns out, he'd seen the flickering lights and couldn't bring himself to abandon them. The monster staggers back from Steve's blows, stepping right into a bear trap. Jonathan hurls a lighter, setting the monster ablaze. But when the fire dies down, the monster is gone, leaving only a puddle of slime behind. In the upside down, the chief and Joyce search cautiously for Will. The chief spots a massive eggshell. This must be where the monster hatched. Joyce finds Will's castle, but he's nowhere to be seen. They head to Joyce's house to keep looking. Miraculously, the light bulbs in the real world flicker on as they walk through the upside-down version. Sensing it's not the monster, Jonathan calls out. Joyce in the upside down hears her son's voice instantly.
Joseph?
She also spots the monster's slime on the ground. Now, it's the kids' turn to face danger. To help 11 recharge, Dustin and Lucas head to the school cafeteria for cans of food. Meanwhile, Mike and 11 share a tender moment. 11 experiences her first kiss, unlocking a new joy. What a buzzkill! Lab agents arrive with weapons. The 4 kids flee, but they're trapped and caught between 2 groups of agents. 11 doesn't back down. With her telekinetic attack, the agents collapse, bleeding, but 11 faints from exhaustion. Just then, Dr. Brenner arrives with his men, capturing the 3 boys. He picks up the weak 11, cooing that he'll take her back to the lab for treatment. But 11 firmly rejects the bad man. In the days since escaping, she's felt true friendship. She won't be fooled by his fake fatherly affection anymore. Before one crisis ends, another hits. As the smell of blood spreads, thick walls shatter, and the monster bursts through. While the adults fight, the 3 boys quickly carry 11 to safety. Despite heavy gunfire, Dr. Brenner and his men are all wiped out. On the other side, the Chief and Joyce finally find Will in the monster's lair after much trouble. The Chief yanks a long tentacle from Will's mouth and blasts it to pieces with his gun. But Will has stopped breathing. The 2 work together to perform CPR on him. Watching Joyce crumble with grief over her son, the Chief thinks of his own daughter. He once had a lovely daughter. Sadly, she'd been diagnosed with an incurable illness. He'd stood helpless by her hospital bed, watching her pass away. This time, he refuses to regret it. He won't let this boy die too. He channels all his love and guilt for his daughter into prayers for Will. Fortunately, fate cuts him a break. Will gasps back to life. Back at school, the 3 boys lay the weak 11 on a desk. Mike does his best to comfort her, promising she can live with him forever and eat as many waffles as she wants. But in the next second, the monster smashes through the door. Lucas panics, grabbing his slingshot and firing. But bullets couldn't hurt him. The slingshot feels more like a tickle. Lucas doesn't give up and fires with all his strength. This time, the monster slams into the wall, pinned down and completely immobile. Wait, when did the slingshot get this powerful? Oops, turns out 11 superpowers were boosting it. Now, she's more afraid of losing her friends than the monster. 11 walks toward the monster, glancing back at the boys with longing.
Goodbye, Mike.
She'll end the disaster she started herself. With a roar, 11 and the monster vanish in a cloud of ash. Let's cut to the hospital. Will wakes up in his bed with Joyce and Jonathan watching over their long-lost treasure, tears in their eyes. Soon after, Mike, Lucas, and Dustin come to visit. They excitedly tell him all the strange things that happened while he was gone. Nancy is happy for them, but grief washes over her when she thinks about her best friend who will never come back. A month later, it's Christmas, and Will is nearly fully recovered. The 4 boys reunite in Mike's basement to play Dungeons & Dragons. They win the game, but the knight is still heartbroken. His princess is gone. Nancy gives Jonathan a quick kiss on the cheek and hands him a gift. Jonathan secretly rejoices. Just when I thought they'd get together, Nancy heads back to the living room and curls up in Steve's arms. Turns out the gift is from Steve, an apology for Jonathan. Will helps his brother open the box. Inside is a brand new camera. Jonathan instantly realizes he'd gotten his hopes up for nothing. Since her younger son's return, Joyce has been in much better spirits. The 3 of them enjoy a joyful family meal at the table until Will's face turns pale. He rushes to the bathroom and spits out a slimy, disgusting thing. In a flash, his surroundings shift to the upside down, then snap back to normal just as quickly. Scared of worrying his family, Will pretends nothing happened and joins them back at the table. The boys come back from the dead, and the police department has cracked a major case. The cops are all celebrating happily, but the chief grabs some food and leaves. He drives to the woods, places the food in a box, smiles softly. All right, that's the end of Stranger Things Season 1.